Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. The Philippines is making unprecedented progress in its energy sector, installing a record high renewable energy capacity in 2024 while securing major investments to strengthen infrastructure and lower electricity costs. At the center of these developments is Energy Assistant Secretary Mylene Capongcol, leading the charge in the renewable energy management space, balancing rapid energy transition with sustainability and affordability. Today on Follow the Money, we sit down with Asec Mylene to discuss the latest milestones, challenges, and what's next for the country's power sector. Asec Mylene, hello and welcome to Follow the Money.
Hello, Ms. Raine. Good afternoon, everyone, and to your viewers. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to be here.
We're grateful you could join us today. Asec, could you kindly give us a quick assessment of the Philippine renewable energy space at the moment? How much of the total Philippine energy requirement is it currently feeding? And how much more can we take on in terms of renewable energy?
Yes, Ms. Raine, in terms of power generation, renewable energy is at 22% share in the power generation mix, which is actually below, no? Because right now we are 63% being supplied by coal generation.
And the current goal is, you're saying we're behind, so 22%. What is the goal and when?
Well, the goal that we have targeted is to meet 35% share by 2030 and increasing it to 50% by 2040 and 2050.
And do you believe that we can meet this target?
Yes, a lot of stakeholders are geared towards meeting that target, particularly the Department of Energy. And if you have noticed, there have been a lot of renewable energy programs and policies that have been initiated and promulgated by the Department of Energy to encourage more investment, to ease the burden of investing in renewable energy development in the country.
Asec, this 22% renewable energy contribution to the total energy mix is how many in terms of megawatts?
Well, in terms of megawatt, if we refer to the dependable capacity, it's about 7,250 megawatt, which represent 30% of the entire capacity. When you say capacity, it's the size of the facility. If you talk about power generation, this is the energy generation that were produced by that power plant capacity, and it runs to about 17 gigawatt hour as of 2023.
And the Philippines, of course, installed a record high 7,500 megawatts of renewable energy capacity last year, surpassing government targets. What were the key drivers behind this achievement? How does the DOE plan to sustain or accelerate this momentum?
Well, just to correct, as of 2024, the renewable energy is about 4,100 megawatt. But the 7,500 was the result of the Green Energy Auction number 3 we recently held last February 11. So, and that is prompted by, again, a series of new policies and programs that is aimed not only on the utility scale, but rather on the consumer side itself, because there are industrial, commercial establishment that wants to have renewable energy as their supply. Even the lower or middle customers is pushing for renewable energy through net metering or the Green Energy Option Program. So those things, both the utility and the utility scale and the consumer base RE program is contributing much to the entry of more renewable energy generation in the country.
You mentioned net metering. Who is in charge of net metering licensing or permits? Because it seems that there's a confusion. For example, in areas like Batangas, it seems that some residents are being passed on from one agency to the other, and they can't seem to get their net metering permit up. Who is, if for example I'm a resident of Batangas or Cavite, ultimately who's supposed to be issuing the permit?
Okay, for the net metering, this is the regulated segment in the renewable energy or in the power. So it's the customer choice. So as long as there is an approval coming from or a memorandum of agreement with the host distribution utility, then and then some permits from the local government units, then they can have their own net metering facility. The reason why there are some problems arising from the net metering application is because allegedly some distribution utility are not aware of how they will do the distribution impact study, because this will be integrated into the distribution system of a network service provider, or what we call distribution utility. So the net metering scheme is actually a prosumer program wherein the customers can generate for its own use, and at the same time to be able to sell the excess or unutilized energy to the host distribution utility.
That's correct, and I believe a lot of consumers, retail, are interested in it. And in which case, you mentioned that it's unregulated. Do you feel that there is an opportunity to regulate this particular industry?
No, but it's a consumer-based program, so it's the choice of the electricity consumer. However, the Department of Energy, the Energy Regulatory Commission, is keenly monitoring the progress and the transactions under the net metering, so that any distribution utility cannot deny any refusal or application for a net metering scheme. So if there are refusal or non-action coming from the host distribution utility, they can approach either the Department of Energy or the Energy Regulatory Commission, because it is one violation under the Renewable Energy Act of 2008.
Asec, you mentioned already earlier about the green energy auction, the third one that you conducted. This one took some time before it was finally rolled out, but you were able to successfully conduct that green auction, drawing more interest than expected. What are the most significant takeaways from this auction, and how does the government plan to further incentivize investment in renewables?
Yes, the third auction round we did recently, particularly last February 11, is dedicated to what we call non-feed-in tariff renewable energy. So these are the geothermal, pump storage hydro, and impounding hydro, meaning there are not really emerging technology, so that in the RE law they were not allowed to avail the feed-in tariff scheme. For the GEA, or the Green Energy Auction 1, it's the start of, we auction about 2,000 megawatt of capacity, which are FIT eligible, and we got around 1,900 megawatt. In GEA number 2, the same FIT eligible renewable energy technologies, and we got around 3.4 megawatt of 3,400 megawatt of RE capacity, and this third auction round is about 7,500 megawatt of non-FIT eligible. So to continue the the interest, no, and we will be conducting green energy auction number 4 and number 5. Number 4, we refer again to the FIT eligible capacities, renewable energy, and for green energy auction number 5, this will be dedicated for offshore wind projects.
Do we know when those are going to be rolled out? And if I'm not mistaken, so we noticed that the capacity that you're able to pursue for every auction is actually growing. And can we say that for green energy auction number 4 and 5, it's also even going to be bigger than 7,500 megawatts?
Well, hopefully, Ms. Raine, we will be able to generate more interest from the investors. And we hope to have this conducted, the JF4 and the JF5 within the year. And also to mention that we are having a dedicated auction program for the waste to energy and biomass. But it's still under discussion on how we will be able to address some of concern on the apparent development cost for biomass and waste to energy.
Asec, as you know, as you mentioned, there was a lot of interest in these GEAs or JEAs, but there were challenges that you encountered. Can you tell us about them and how we were able to hurdle these challenges? Do you expect the same challenges going into JEA 4 and 5?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Raine. Actually, the major challenge that we're looking at is on the timely development of the transmission lines to connect these facilities to the grid. Number 2 is the permits and licensing coming from the various local government units and, of course, regulators or what we call the national government agencies. But these things are being addressed slowly because we're trying to integrate all these permits and licenses through the Energy Virtual One-Stop Shop.
Well, of course, the goal of government is for full electrification by 2028. Are we still on track? Or is it really under review because of funding uncertainties? Is that true?
Yes, it's being recalibrated, not really on the funding issue, but more on the implementation strategies because, the remaining unserved and underserved areas are located in the last mile areas and the traditional electrification mode may not be applicable. So you have to spend a lot of time, do initial studies, and then you go back because you have to do social preparation for those areas. Because some are grid connected, like they just connect to the distribution utility by way of extending the existing line, but others are on the off-grid mode, which means standalone energy service or supply is being installed. So how to repair and the payment scheme have to be understood clearly by the end users. So it really takes time to do this, and we're happy that there is a scheduled presentation, I guess, to the President to provide updates on the total electrification program of the country.
When is this presentation to the President, Asec?
I'm not aware, but maybe in the next few days or weeks. No? So it's being prepared already with the Office of...
Do we know if it's not going to be 2028 for a full electrification of the country? Do we have a rough estimate as to when it's going to be?
Well, as mentioned earlier, we're recalibrating it. But there are certain information that we still need to verify So right now we still at 28%, but maybe we can clarify like 100% of what base, no? Because the numbers are actually dynamics, no? It changes, and as mentioned earlier, the implementation strategies have to be differentiated per area and per distribution utility.
There were some comments from some foreign organizations that despite the Philippines' high geothermal potential, the sector remains underdeveloped. Would you say that that's true? Are there roadblocks that we have been able to identify? And are there policies the DOE is implementing to unlock more geothermal projects?
Yes, Ms. Raine, you're correct that for a number of years, there's no great geothermal exploration and development in the country. But right now, we're seeing some construction optimization program from our geothermal developers. And to complement that, we are undertaking a project specific for geothermal, which we call geothermal de-risking facility. So we all know that developing geothermal project is quite capital extensive, very difficult to build, so that the cost of providing generation from geothermal remains to be high, so that we are taking on the most expensive aspect of developing geothermal, which is the exploration and drilling. So the intended objective of the de-risking facility is there will be some sort of cost sharing for that particular aspect of geothermal development.
Cost sharing with the particular
With the project owner, yes. So if they are successful, then they will repay. But if not, it's sort of a grant. And we're selecting carefully those projects that most likely will move forward, meaning they will graduate to a real geothermal project for the country.
Very quickly before the break, Asec, you mentioned grant already. Is the DOE affected or any of your projects affected by the pause in USAID grants? And from the pool of private investors and foreign companies, have you identified a particular set, or is there a trend of foreign identities that are really making a push to invest in the Philippines?
Yes. We have USAID funded projects, but we're trying to look for alternative funding source. No? So we have what we call the Renewable Energy Trust Fund under the RE law that may be tapped to finish or to undertake those projects that was supposedly suspended by the USAID, particularly on the energy sector.
Is there an amount for that? Do you know how much of that will have to be?
Well, since it's USAID, we don't know the contract amount, no. But it's more on the technical assistance, not really on the investment side, but it's on policy studies and helping us in the green energy auction platform, no, the platform that we're using for green energy auction.
All right, we'll pause here for a break. I have a few more questions, Asec, but when we return, we'll discuss with Asec Capongcol the role of private and public investments in securing the Philippines' energy future. Stay on BNC and follow the money. We're back on Follow the Money. We're still with Energy Assistant Secretary Mylene Capongcol. Asec, the Philippines, and UAE's Masdar have agreed on a $15 billion renewable energy project aiming to add up to 1 gigawatt of clean power by 2030. What are the DOE's strategies to ensure the successful implementation of this partnership, and how might it impact the country's energy mix?
Of course, we are thankful for the government of UAE and Masdar for contributing to our cause of achieving 35% RE share by 2030. It's a welcome development for us that there was a signing in UAE last January, wherein the Secretary and our Undersecretary in charge of renewable energy were there to sign the implementation agreement with Masdar. So it will cover development of various renewable energy projects in the country, maybe through by themselves as Masdar, and maybe in partnership with other local developers here in the country.
The Maharlika Investment Corporation has invested in the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines amid delays in transmission projects. How will this investment help address these bottlenecks? Is there accountability measures in place to ensure timely project completion? You were mentioning some delays also in some transmission infrastructure.
Well, at least the presence of Maharlika Investment Corporation in the board of NGCP will help us facilitate and ensure that what's in the transmission development plan will be implemented on time, no? Because there's always a plan for everything. For the generation, we have the power development plan. For the transmission, to complement the power development plan is our transmission development plan, which is prepared by the NGCP and approved by DOE and the Energy Regulatory Commission. So it would be of great help for us that Maharlika would be there. But there's maybe a Chinese wall to this negotiation, because the one is on the investment side, and the other side is on the development of the power projects.
And so how do we break that Chinese wall or scale it?
No, I guess what it means is that we have a support, no, that will monitor the development of the needed transmission lines for the country. Because that is, in terms of capacity, power capacity, we are experiencing delays that some of our projects are putting in or building what we call battery energy storage system, while awaiting for the full transmission capacity that will enable them to inject power into the grid, 100% of their commitment to the government.
All right. Asec, we're down to our last 2 minutes and 2 questions also. I hope you bear with us. The Asian Development Bank and Ayala Group have signed a $100 million loan agreement to develop the electric vehicle or EV ecosystem in the Philippines. How does the DOE plan to support this growing industry? How will the grid handle an increase in EV charging demand?
Yeah, as you know, we have the Philippine Energy Plan that integrates all the renewable energy plants in the country. Like, for example, distribution development plan. We have should incorporate the expected demand growth arising from the energy requirement of the charging stations. But at the same time, we're promoting the use of renewable energy through solar facility for a standalone PV charging station for the EV vehicle.
So how many EV charging stations would we be able to grow in the Philippines between this year and next?
Unfortunately, Ms. Raine, I don't have the numbers right now, but maybe we can provide you on a later
Sure.
time.
And then finally, Asec Mai, how much in terms of growth in renewable energy contribution are you expecting between this year and next?
Yeah, for the next how many years? 2022 to 2030. In the 8 years, we're looking at more than 10% increase in the renewable energy.
In total?
In total to meet the 35%, because right now we are at 22, so we need around 15% more to complement what we have desired in terms of capacity. So we're adding more, around 11 to 15%.
And we're right here with you, helping out in the push for more investment and more work into the energy sector, especially in renewable energy. Energy Assistant Secretary Mylene Capongcol of the Renewable Energy Management Bureau of the Department of Energy, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your invaluable insights into the Philippines' energy transformation and the road ahead. Thank you so much. We're grateful.
Thank you everyone.
As the country pushes for greater renewable energy adoption, ensuring affordability, investor confidence, and sustainability will all be critical to long-term success. And before we go, we leave you with this thought from the former Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources of Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Yamani. The Stone Age didn't end because we ran out of stones, and the fossil fuel age will not end because we ran out of fossil fuels. And that is it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.